Kate from Sorted State, and this GoLive is really designed to be a companion to this week's article. It's not really a standalone concept, but I feel like a lot of times I write in a way that it's hard to understand in real life how to apply a technique or a tool. And I wanted to kind of show everyone. So we moved into a new house about 2 months ago, and I am still a mess, right? I have not yet actually figured out how I want to use all the storage in this house. We have a lot of storage. And so what I thought I'd do is for the next few weeks, every week to accompany my article, I'm also going to do a live session where I talk about the concepts and also do some actual organizing. So you can see kind of from a professional organizer standpoint, what does the process really look like? And how do we actually go through a space and decide what is going to live there in the future and how we're going to use the physical organization that we already have and how we're going to think about adding things like bins and other organizing tools and labels. So, like I said, my name is Kate from Sorted State, and this is my monitor right now. I don't have any organizing system for it. It is a combination of purses and bags, some painting supplies, some gardening supplies, some kitchen overstock, some more tools and paperwork, and then a hodgepodge myriad of drawers. It's not well utilized. I have a flat space here that tends to just end up as like a clutter hotspot, which I don't love. I've talked about clutter magnets before. This is like sort of desperate in need for a clutter magnet and for a system by which I declutter it every day. So we're going to kind of work through some of these things today. I'm not going to finish today, but I want to kind of get a good start and show you what the process is like. So when I am doing any home organization, my sort of biggest tool is a notebook, pen, paper, actual pen and paper. I also have great paper that I like when I'm working with clients, I'll actually go and measure things and put it on a grid and sort of make a determination of how I want to do the organization plan. I'm also a big fan of making a cutout that is the exact size of a drawer. I can take a piece of paper with me to a store very easily that is the size of a shelf or a drawer, put it on the floor, arrange bins on it, make sure they're going to fit, or just, with my overstock bins, just make sure that the things I'm going to be bringing into someone's home actually fit in the space. But you can do this as well, right? So you have your closet, put a piece of paper in there, draw a line around the edge, take that with you to the store. So what I'm going to be doing is first getting very clear on what the job of this space is. So this is a cabinet. It's actually in my dining room, but we don't have an entryway. We don't have a mud room. We also don't have a legitimate pantry, right? So this cabinets in my dining room have to kind of serve this multi-purpose. They have like a multi-job space. So one job that this space needs to do is it needs to serve as the overflow stock from the hooks that are in our kitchen. So we have just a series of hooks where our coats and some shoes go, but the rest of the space needs to house all stock. So this is extra coats. I don't want 13 coats hanging on hooks by my door. My door would never open. So how do I arrange my space in such a way that we have maybe a coat rod here that's going to hold all of our coat overstock? We have already a cabinet that we're using for shoe overstock. So we just have our sort of running in and out of the house shoes by the back door. But we need, I need extra shoes, kids need extra shoes. So all of that is here. So my husband and I kind of like came up with a game plan this morning that we're going to put a rod in here for all of our extra coats. And then, I have a lot of my extra purses in here as well, but this really doesn't make sense. This is a golden zone. I don't swap my purse out every day. I have one purse that I use, and then maybe once in a while, I will swap it out if I'm traveling or doing something a little bit different. But the fact that I sort of have 4 purses here is not a really good use of this incredibly valuable storage real estate. So what I'd like to do is kind of take this area and actually repurpose it as a true pantry, because my kitchen just doesn't have any pantry space. I don't have a lot of pantry inventory just because of my sort of inventory scheduling and how I grocery shop, but I do like Costco and I do have overstock. So, making sure that I have it in a way that's organized and clean and I can see exactly how much I have, exactly how much I need. And that way I stay sort of as streamlined. So this is going to be pantry. And then you can see based on my plan, I've got kitchen overflow that I'm going to designate in this spot. So this is going to be things like my food processor that I don't use all the time, my blender, and I'm going to arrange it in a way that the things that are more often used are more accessible. And then I've got this little cabinet here that I still haven't decided what I want to do with. Right now, it's kind of a mix of paperwork and some tools. I'm going to be relocating my everyday tools, the junk drawer tools that most people think about, like screwdrivers, a flashlight, some stuff that you use all the time. I'm going to put into a drawer here, and I'm going to do it in a way that I'm going to make like a shadow board where I outline them, and I'm going to get some hook and loop that sticks on the tool itself so that you put it in the drawer in the spot. It doesn't slide around. And it also makes sure that when something's missing, it's very easy to tell, oh, the hammer's not here. It's somewhere else in the house. Or where do I put the hammer? It goes right in that spot. So that's a project that I'm going to be working on. And then finally, I'm going to be designating this top cabinet here for our everyday bags. So this is where our extra shopping bags are going to go. This is where my kids' backpacks are going to go. They don't take their backpacks to daycare every day. They're little, right? I actually don't want them to think they have to take them every day. So for right now, I'm going to put them here. This is my biggest risk spot. If it seems like this isn't working out, it's okay to go back and change. I think it's something that part of when I build into the organization plans when I come to someone's house is I always have a 4 to 6 week checkpoint. You're going to learn that some things that you did the first time just start working out. And this is when you move is a big thing, right? So you move into a new home and you think you've got it sorted out, and you go to actually live in the space and you realize, I don't know that this was such a good idea. So let's start by actually just pulling some stuff out. We're going to talk through it. I'm going to tell you why certain things should be in a golden zone and why other things really shouldn't. So let's start here. And I can see already that I have 2 well-sized little screwdrivers in my pantry area or in my like sort of golden zone. I do not need both of them. Maybe we did when we first moved in because we were doing a lot of quick DIY tightening things around the house. But I think at this point, I need one of them up here and the other one can go to the basement. Gardening tools. This is needed around here because we actually don't have a good outdoor location yet. But I don't think that I need this to be in such a primary location right now because it is January in Pennsylvania, which means there is about 8 inches of snow outside. So I did hang the other week some sort of kid level hooks in our dining area or our back door area where the kids can come in and they can hang up their own stuff, which is the key. Like if you find that your kids are never hanging their own things, maybe it's because they can't reach the hooks. Think practically, like how can a kid hang their stuff up easily? Make the hooks at their level and label them. So my daughters have one hook that's for their coats and one hook that's for their snow pants. They know which hook is theirs. It's labeled with their name. And so they feel sort of ownership of my coat goes here. Seeing a lot more stuff that just needs to go in the basement. Masks, some thermal tape, box cutters. First rule when you're doing any organization project is just remove everything from the space. So this is called sort in the 5S method. And I'm just taking everything out of the space. And I've cleared off my dining table so I have plenty of space for this activity. And you can see as I'm working, I'm not really thinking too much yet about what I need to keep and what I maybe don't need to keep. Right now, this is about getting everything out of the space. I also can see I have like a pile of mail that I need to actually send to the previous owner of the house. I've got a luggage tag that I don't need. Could be stressful. Car charger adapter. This is a part where you don't want to pass a lot of judgment on the things that you own. You really want to focus on getting it so that you can look at your space with a clear head and make sure that you have a good game plan for how you want to move forward. All right. I can also see I have a lot of like loose items, so I might go grab a couple storage bins really quickly. Just some little glass jars that I have. So, as you can imagine, I am a professional organizer. I always have extra organizing supplies around the house. I'm a big fan of little jars from IKEA. They're very multifunctional. So these are little glass jars with lids that fit. And I might not always use glass for something like battery storage, but it's what I have on hand. And I would always rather not buy something new if I have something that will work. And then I can just kind of put it in my backlog of like, if I find something that might work better than a glass jar, I can swap it out quite quickly. But now all my batteries are contained and they're not rolling around. Got some power tools. Okay, and now this is where so we've actually gone through this whole section here. We've cleared everything out. I'm going to say if this is going to be our food pantry, I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm not going to worry about this right now, but I am going to start cleaning out paint supplies. This is that coat rod that I'm going to be putting up. I got some leftover tension rods that I had taken down. And a tire inflation kit that probably belongs in there. So now I've cleared everything out of the spaces that I'm going to focus on organizing right now. And so my next step is actually to go through all of the items that I have and make quick assessments of what I actually want to keep and what I don't. So here I'm going to say things like my garden gloves. Yes, I'm going to keep them. I'm going to keep them here, but I definitely don't need them in the top drawer. Let's see. This is going to go to the basement. So rehome. This is also going to go to the basement. I'll get like a little bin to carry thing. This is an old thermostat. It is trash. So I'm going to trash that. I have a bunch of batteries that need to be recycled. So these I'm going to take the electronic recycling. Let's see. A wood fill stick. That's going to go in the basement. The chargers and batteries, those are going to stay here. A car USB adapter. I'm going to just go ahead and throw these off. I do not think I need them anymore. So those will also go to the electronic recycling. Some small pliers, those can stay up here. Felt pads. I've used all the big ones. These are the small ones that are left. I don't have anything these will be good for. So I am just going to discard these. I don't feel bad about throwing things away that have outlived their purpose. Again, it's just something that, I used what I needed, and now I've got some extra. So let me go grab a garbage bag. I've got these wraparound floor savers. These are good, but I don't need them in my golden zone. That is for sure. These are some leftover screws from a project that need to go back downstairs. This is a bulb that doesn't work, and so it does need to be electronic recycled. I'll take that to the hardware store for recycling. Got some actual garbage in here. Some screws that I'm not sure what they're for. Don't forget, you can buy screws at the hardware store. You can buy individual screws. Don't hold on to screws that you don't know what they're for. You're never going to figure it out. It's okay to throw them away. I'm going to throw this away. Again, this I think is from this curtain rod that I have to put in. Nope. That has the screws inside of it. Okay, again, no idea what they're from. Little Allen key, that I'll probably keep. Christmas ornament, some command strips. I have a bin that I use for my picture hanging things that I will return them to where they need to go. Again, some more little random screws. This is a cup holder from, I think, my sister's car to serve as like an extra wide cup holder, but it doesn't really fit in the car that we have right now, so I'm just going to get rid of it. It's an extra piece of wood from a project. Again, don't really have any use for it. Random piece of cardboard. Business card. Flex paste. That should go at the placement. This can stay. This can go up in my hanging thing. Vice grips. Pliers. Okay, so I've got a pretty good selection of things that I'm going to keep here versus put in the basement. Would put in the basement. And once I've sort of gone through and done an assessment of what I have, and I've made the call of how I'm actually going to be storing things back in the space, this is where I'm going to quickly just grab a cloth and just give everything a quick wipe down before I start putting things back. My goal with any organization project is not really just to organize. It's actually to get time back in my life. So every minute that I spend looking for something that I need, moving something to the side so I pick up something that's underneath it, those are all like minutes of my life that I would like to get back. On average, every person spends 16 minutes a day looking for something. And, my favorite stat is if you add that up over the course of a year, it's about 100 hours. And I know a lot of people who give a lot for 100 hours back there. Let's get everything a really quick wipe down. These are drawers. They're not very dirty. I want to make sure that the space is sanitized to a degree that I know that, you need to come back in and clean immediately. So looking at my plan, I know I've said the bottom drawer here I'm going to be using for paperwork. This is stuff that I don't access very often, but I do need to have, this is kind of like a go bag. And I want to make sure it's in a place that if there's ever an emergency, you can grab it quickly and get out of the house. I'm also going to put all of the mail that I need to return to the owner of the house before us. Going to go in this drawer as well, but towards the front. I'll stack it. And I just have a lot of sort of like loose paperwork that I need to go through. And I'll put that in the drawer as well. If it's out on the counter, it's not that I'll get to it faster. It's that it'll just attract more stuff to it. Right. So if I have a place for it that's labeled, I'll put it in that place. And then I just have to schedule for myself when to get it out. This is a little bit of out of sight, out of mind, but also having a system to help you organize your stuff. So I do have a system by which I will go through that once a week. And so for me, it's more important to actually just have it away in a place that is sort of secure, off the counter, so it's not attracting more clutter. So the next drawer I said I was going to do for my gardening tools. So this is going to be everything for out. This is where I'm going to find that I may need to rethink my plan because this tool doesn't fit in this drawer. So the garden and the paperwork are going to swap. Paperwork fits very nicely in that drawer, and the gardening tools are going to fit very in this bottom drawer. So I got my blower, I've got my covers, and things right now we're going to roll around in there. But like I said, I'm going to get some hook and loop tape. And so you put the hooks on the drawer itself and you put the loops on the tool. The loops are soft. So the soft part is on the tool, the hooks are in the drawer, and you just can set them right on top of each other. And it won't stick very hard, but it's enough to keep them from rolling. I also have a little lock box. I'm going to put that in my gardening tools. And I'm going to put all of my gardening gloves. Adults and kids gardening. Okay. I've got my tools, little modified laser flashlight that we built for our daughter. Drill bits and my screws, pliers, tape measure level. Like I said, it's a new house. We're doing a lot of DIY. Right now, I'm just organizing them the best I can. I will come back and, like I said, put in the hook and loop tape and draw little outlines around everything. I do need to make sure I have space for my hammer. Right now, that's in a different location. So as you're thinking about what needs to go in a place, also don't forget that you might not have everything in the place now. There may be things that you use frequently that are stored in other locations and you want to bring them to your location. So part of what you think about, I have a space, everything here has to work to do the job that I needed to do to help me in that space. So the job of this drawer is to help me with DIY projects around the house, quick DIY. This isn't things that I need like my circular saw. So quick DIY, I almost always need a hammer. If that hammer is stored in a different location, bring that tool to your location. This applies also in the kitchen. Like I said in my article this week, you might have a bunch of spices and those spices are stored in a golden zone because you use them frequently. But that golden zone might be the spot where you're making coffee. And so things might be valuable in any location, but you want to make sure that they're in a location that supports you to do that job. So hammer, that I will run and grab really quick. I also grabbed my hanging stuff supply caddy. So here's my hammer. I'm gonna put that in the drawer right now. I love these caddies. So these, you can see they're the Container Store craft organizer totes. But I use them for a lot more than crafts. So this is a tote that I have that's called hanging stuff. And it's really got anything in it that you might need to hang things. So riveting putty, the little strips you can put in a picture frame, hooks, also things like my staple gun with staples. If you need to hang like a cable on the wall. So this is my hanging supplies, and I'm gonna put the command hooks that I pulled out into the drawer. This is also where all my command hooks are. I'm also gonna put these wall hooks in as well. So now I've got that a little more organized. You can see I have very few things left. Okay, so now I've got my everyday drawer. I can't say that I use batteries every day, but I do use them often enough that it makes sense to have them in the everyday drawer along with the battery charger. Tape, definitely use that every day. Our box cutters, we do use a lot. I'm gonna think like if you use it once a week, It really is a daily item. This is also where I'm going to put our lotions. Right now, our lotions were out just like on the counter, right at the top. But like I said, that makes that space a clutter magnet. So I'm going to put them right here in the drawer, right on the top, along with my daughter's whiteout. She loves to color, but she also hates when she makes mistakes. So we have some whiteout in the house that she can ask us to help her erase mistakes. Got some duct tape. I'm not really sure where to put this yet. This is a perfect time for me to sort of use my red tag process. I don't know if this should go in the everyday area or if it should go in the basement. So I'm actually going to think about it for a little bit before I decide what to do with this. This duct tape is actually now quite old. We don't really use it a lot. And so it's kind of going a little, actually, you know what? It's pretty beat, and I don't know that it's going to work super great anymore. So I think I might just trash it. But like I said, I'm not 100% yet. So this is a great opportunity for me to do a little red tag. And I'm going to think about this item a little bit longer. So at this point now, I've done a lot of organizing. You can actually see all of that covered. It's cleared out. I have a pile of stuff to take to the basement. My drawers are organized in a way that makes me feel so much more clarity and like ease of use. I am going to put my tissue box, we're, cold season tissue box, and our keys in a little dish. So now I have a clutter magnet right there, but I need to remember that clutter magnet is going to attract clutter, and I have to have a sort of daily process by which I go through this area and put everything away that is not those two items, the only two items that are going to live in that zone. So I hope you all enjoyed my brief little go live on what a golden zone is and how you can think about crafting your home space so that you're utilizing the expensive real estate, the sort of very easy, don't have to bend, don't have to reach. All of those spaces need to be optimized so that you're using them efficiently, effectively, you're not moving as much, and you're able to find things quickly and easily. So this is how a home organizer organizes their own home. I talked to my husband. I made sure that we had a solid plan. We wrote it out together so that we were in agreement of where things would go. And then I executed thoughtfully, clearing things out as I went. You can't organize clutter, right? So decluttering first is the most important step for organizing your home. So I see I have a comment. Hi, Katie. Yes, it is hard to get. Oh, and your thermostat, your furnace went out over the weekend. That actually happened to us as well, which is why we have sort of this new Honeywell thermostat. It didn't happen to us this weekend, but it did happen to us in December. And so the thermostat that's here won't work with this current setup. So it does give me a good opportunity to throw something away. I understand the like safety net mentality. Part of that has to do with it's really like hardwired into our programming, right? Especially stuff related to survival. It's hard to get rid of stuff. For me, it's always I have a Home Depot 20 minutes away. If there's an urgent need for something, I can usually go pick it up in less than 2 or 3 hours. So that's part of how I deal with clutter is just trying to make sure that I have a plan in my head for if I was to need this item, could I get it quickly and easily and cheaply enough that it makes sense to just replace it and let it go. So thank you all for joining my quick little go live. I hope you absorbed some awesome information and you feel motivated to declutter a space in your house. And I'll talk to you all soon. Thank you. Bye.